Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Focus Friday edition. This week I want to talk a little bit about binder jetting, where we make a pattern that will go around our generatively designed part here, basically a setter support. And I'm going to show the setter support script and how you can make changes to be able to do that. So we have this generatively designed part here. This part can be very fragile when you build in a binder jet. I picked a desktop metal here that does binding jet metal powder 3D printer build. And when you build this part, it's in a green strength when it's being built to use a binder in the metal powder. And extracting that, it can be pretty fragile. And the most important thing is when you put it in the furnace, you know, the part can distort and things like that. So we have a setter support that will hold the part and make it a little easier for that stage of the process. So how do we go about doing that? Well, we can go to generate support here, and we go to our support script. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a support that you see here that I've done earlier, but I want to show you how to set up that support script to be able to do that. So we have this binder jet setter support script here. And what you want to do is you want to duplicate this. So you want to go to the gear icon and make a duplicate script here. Rename this. We'll just call this KM. This will be the third one. Hit OK. And this is where you can make changes to parameters for this support script. And the next time you come in, you'll have it and you don't have to make your changes here. You just have to remember to hit save. For this particular support that I'm going to have where I enclose this part, I want the part to stick out a little bit so I can be able to grab that part and extract that out of the enclosure of the setter support. So I don't need this base plate, so I'm just going to double click on the X here and it deletes that added action. And we're just going to make our changes to this base setter support here. Hit the plus sign, it'll open up some other areas here that we can change. And just to show you some different settings here, and how we got to the part that we have here. We do have different ways of making this setter support. You can go a silhouette or a rectangle. I'll leave it on silhouette here, but we'll leave on the hexagonal infill pattern. So you're going to see a hexagonal infill here after I hit execute. But I do want to make the outer offset thicker here. The particular part here, I used the 4mm for the offset there. And these are all parameters that you should play around with depending on which geometry you have. Like I said, for this particular one, I want the part to stick out a little bit, but you can have a plate on the bottom, for instance, or the hexagonal fill here that we're going to see in a second. And here we've created that setter support, and I still want to make some changes. But what I wanted to do is just show that you can put a different infill here. If you go to top view here, you can see this hexagonal pattern that we selected. What I want to do is I put this too high on the height, so we want to change that. Let's just make this 55 millimeters and change out the hexagonal to get what I want for this particular geometry. I wanted it solid, and then we'll execute that and see what we create. So here we are, we have the completed binder jet setter support. This again is going to make it easier for transporting into the furnace, and when the part's in the green strength, you'll be able to bring it to the furnace and keep it so it's more accurate, nominal shaped when it goes through the furnace process. And now we can remember to hit save, so that way your parameters that you changed, if you have the same geometry next time, you can just use that same support script. So hit save, and then we want to apply that support. It brings it in here. And one other step that's really important, most folks want to keep the support as a part and the part as its own individual part. You want to go up to manage support and split support to a new part, separate it, and it becomes its own part. The setter support here becomes its own part, and the generatively designed part stays as one part. So you can see how it actually would, just by hitting the part placement here, you can see how this part would actually fit inside of that particular center support. I'm going to undo and put it back there. And we can also make a bunch of copies here at this point. This is just a duplicate. We'll just make 2 rows of 4 here, and you can select them all and just move them right to the center here using the move and center platform button here. And now we have a full build of parts, 8 sets with the center support and the generatively designed part, ready to be exported out to your BinderJet 3D printer. Thanks again for being on this week's Additive Focus Friday tip. I hope this helps. Thank you.